Welcome to TTC Cars. My name's Brian, and sorry Craig can't make it today for reasons that just aren't interesting to explain. So you've got me, but you've also got Kia's most powerful production vehicle ever. It has 576 horsepower, and they claim to 60 in 3.4 seconds. We'll find out in just a minute. I'm going to test ourselves and let you know. Also, they're saying a top speed of 161, and I can tell you, looking at this shape, I believe it. I mean, with that kind of power number, it makes sense. It really should. So, like all of the EV6 models, the EV6 GT is a part of their Plan S strategy. And that's something Kia is pushing to launch at least 2 battery electric vehicles per year to build a full lineup of at least 14 by 2027. And man, that just seems like a big thing to chew off. I'm also nervous that they'll all be kind of the same. If you're sharing platforms and motors and skateboard, everything, you know, at what point does it get different? This is different, I know, but will they make more plain versions to counteract this? I don't know. I think of the Kia K5. That's a really good car. It's a really unique sedan, and I hope they can keep something like that going like they have here. So I'm curious to see how it goes. Now, aesthetically, I've always been more of an Ioniq 5 guy personally, but man, the younger demographic loves this one. The EV6 is the one they all want. Craig thinks it's very RoboCop. In this red color, I'm not getting that vibe. But let's talk about wheels first of all. These are 21-inch. They have Goodyear Eagle GTs wrapped around them. I'm sorry, Eagle F1s wrapped around them. And the biggest problem is the 21-inch wheel is so big, it rides a little choppy, but that's okay. The suspension does soak it up quite well. You do also have massive brakes. These are 15-inch rotors in the front. I think they're 14-inch change in the back. And of course, they're lime green, so you know that they are the GT package. Also, if you look at the hats, they are vented, and that is all for cooling, and that's going to help you big time in the long run. Okay, something else that Kia is claiming is that this thing is competing with supercars, and it's so wild I had to actually write it down. I want to read it to you directly. Engineered to compete with supercars, AMCI certified winner of 0-60 race against Ferrari Roma, which is not a 458, and Lamborghini Huracan Evo. I find that interesting. 0-60, I mean, that's just where EVs are pretty wild. They can actually hang with those things, but I wouldn't call it a competitor. I mean, it's just not. It's more of a wagon hatchback than that. So let's just move on from there. Now, aesthetically, you do have, they're trying to do a floating roof on the front A-pillar, but the paint continues here with the black up top, and the spoiler looks really cool. It's actually double split in the middle, and it pokes out the back. I think the looks are good. Something I do appreciate as well is the stealth door handles. You can lock it, and they go away, the mirrors fold out and all that kind of stuff. And then when you come back to it, they all pop out. So that's pretty neat. And we'll talk about the interior more in a minute. Now out back, you do not have the monoblock calipers. You have a floating caliper, but they are lime green. Obviously, you can tell we've tested this thing. We've actually tested drift mode. That's kind of where this caliche happened. I'll show you some B-roll in a minute that explains that. Just like the other EV6s, you have this diamond pattern on the back. Man, this is black chrome, and it hasn't scuffed yet, so kudos there. I am nervous over the lifetime that this gets chewed up by car washes. But so far, so good. There is gloss black down here. It also does not look destroyed. I'm impressed. Oh yeah, one more thing on the outside I really need to touch is to open this. There is no actual button. You just kind of press it lightly, and it has a power door and opens on itself. There's your charge port. Now, something they're proud of as well is the charging times. This thing charges claimed from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. Now, that's all dependent on, can you find the DC fast charger? Is it available? Is it not broken? All these things that you can't do that at your house. But they're on the way. Again, manufacturers have it figured out. It's about infrastructure now to catch up with it. This is one of the quicker ones. And you can hit this guy just to close the door back. Now, checking out the hatch, there's a button right here. Power liftgate, of course. And there are gobs and acres of room back here. It's not a third row, just a 2-row. Because of that, you have plenty of room. This is our big backpack. It's actually a really big backpack. It has all of our camera gear. We shoot almost everything from the episode right there, minus some other camera equipment and some drone stuff. So that's pretty impressive. You have the raised floor in the rear, and this is actually an adapter. Something they're trying to show here is that this thing's battery pack is so good that you can use this guy to actually export. You plug this into the car, and it has an actual wall outlet adapter right there. That's pretty neat. We like that. That's pretty cool. Has a 77 kilowatt hour battery, and it's a dual motor setup to get that 576 horsepower. All right, let's check out the second row. Craig's not here, so I'm gonna be Craig for a minute. Compartments, door holders, actually felt lined here, and there's actually an Alcantara in the middle. Man, it looks really nice. You also know you're in the GT because you have lime stitching on everything. It matches the brake calipers. You have a center armrest fold down and cup holder in the middle. That's nice. Let's check headroom. I'm not too excited. Yeah, it's not brilliant. I mean, I'm kind of touching, but I can go to dinner if I had to, but I did not want to go cross country in this thing. It's not going to be pleasant for me. But I am sitting behind myself, and there is a ton of leg room. There's a little room under the bottom for your toes to go with these awesome bucket sport seats. So, enough nonsense there. Check out the front. All right, into first class. You can see the Meridian surround sound speaker grille, traditional Kia switchgear here, also more gloss black. That will get destroyed eventually, but it hasn't been yet, so kudos. Again with the felt lining. Now, these sport bucket seats in the front, this is something you do not get on non-GT models. They hug you well. I'm a big guy, I've got a 42-inch waist, and I fit in here actually, but it is snug and I like them a lot. You've got leather siding and cloth, or I'm sorry, Alcantara in the middle. They breathe okay, they're not great. Let's hop in here. Okay, so just like normal EV6, you've got this giant screen. It's actually two screens, but they've kind of blacked out in the middle that makes it look curved. It is not curved. Start buttons right here. And of course, heated seat, steering wheel, and no crotch chillers. That's a big deduction, annoyed by that. Front charger here, I'm gonna turn the HVAC off. And this actually toggles. There you go. There we go. So I like that you can actually toggle between HVAC and radio controls right here. It switches back and forth between the two. So you can hit that button there, it turns it off. All right, LED lighting on the inside, cool texture and GT badge there, and drive modes here. Something you can do with the GT that you cannot do with the others is drift mode. It's kind of hard to get it in there, but I'm gonna show you really quick. So it's started up, you're gonna put it in park, you gotta go to sport mode, here's your driver controls, you've got drive modes, and then you've got GT mode, that's just the self-configured one to your liking. Now, you're gonna go over and make sure your seatbelt is on, otherwise it won't do it. Press and hold traction control, make sure it goes all the way off. Okay, it's gonna be hard holding the camera, then you hold both the paddles. Drift mode activated. You can see it says it right here, and then the drift icon is there. What that means now is you can throw it in drive, and this puppy is rear wheel drive only. That's really cool. And there's an E limited slip in the back. They're very serious about being able to have fun with their EVs. I'll be honest, it's not really a drift car. It's not natural to intuitively tip in. It's always filtering your inputs, but it's more of a donut mode than a real drift mode. But nonetheless, I appreciate the effort. Let's get on the road and check out 0 to 60. Okay, before we go too much further, again, Craig's not here, sorry. I've got more cabin space though, that's good for me. I wanna go over the Monroney a little bit before we get too far into it. This one is coming up to $62,865. That's with destination and everything. There are no options on the GT trim. It comes with everything. Panoramic sunroof, the full cluster display, the good seats, the big brakes, all the performance stuff, dual motor, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's talk about MPGe. This one's rated at 79 combined. 85 city, 75 highway. And the issue with this one is the range is not what you think it would be. At full charge, we were just under 200 miles of range. As far as usage, I'm not gonna get into MPG too much because we have fun with these. We test them thoroughly. We do a lot of 0 to 60 testing like you're about to see now. So it's not a good measurement. If we're gonna go off that, I'm averaging 1 mile per kilowatt hour in this review. That's about 10 miles a gallon for reference. Not great. So let's ignore that metric and let's do the 0 to 60 time. Again, we're using our race box and it goes through our phone. We've got the race box mounted here, so everything is GPS driven and it's reliable. Okay, so you can't brake load this like you can with some EVs or some automatics. I've got the foot to the brake, nothing happens. So the best trick is to try auto hold. Now, it's like you're at a stoplight. Ready? I'm just gonna launch it, mat it, and see what it does. Oh, jeez. Front wheel spin, 40, 50, and 60. All right, that was 4.08 to 60. previous best I could do was 3.97. There is some wheel spin, but not enough to make a huge difference. The dust is off the tires now at this point. It's just heavy. This is a heavy SUV. 3.4 is going to be on a prep surface with probably a lighter driver, and you know these manufacturers may be adjusting tire pressures a little bit to make that happen. So 3.4 seems possible, but on the street, under 4 is going to be very doable for anyone that owns this thing. So let's talk about ride and drive. It's not a much different than, I'm gonna put it back in normal mode, quieten down everything. It's not much different than the normal EV6 in that it's a skateboard design, all the weight's down low, so your center of gravity is low, but it is still heavy. The rear suspension has a bunch of travel in it, which I actually like. It makes it ride well over bumps, even with the 21-inch wheels. Pretty happy with that. In terms of handling, this is not a drift machine. Like I said earlier, it will do donuts, but it is constantly monitoring your inputs and debating on whether it should really lock the rear diff left and right. As a person who does a lot of oversteer and drifting in my past, this is not a drift car. That's just marketing jargon, but I'm glad that you can put it in rear engine only, or rear motor only. That's a cool feature. Most EVs don't even think about that. So kudos to Kia for doing that. Now, ride and drive. The 21s ride worse than the 20s. Just gonna put it out there. Okay, good, we're over that. It rides really good for 21s. I'm on a kind of a bumpy farm road right now, and it's doing great. I would not be spilling coffee. I'd be happy to drive this to work. The downside is these awesome seats that are superbly supportive and look beautiful. Well, the headrest is not adjustable. I can't bring it closer to me. And because I'm torso tall more than leg tall, and this roof is low, I have to have it reclined back a little bit. It's kind of a bummer. But the good news is the steering wheel comes out really far, so ergonomically, it's as good as it could be for a low roof car. So, you know, I'll take that for how it may be. Other than that, I still slightly prefer the Ioniq 5 to this, just because of the greenhouse factor. I think it's more comfortable for me, but it drives awfully similar. It's a little bit sharper on turn-in and rides a little bit worse, but that's just a trade-off. In terms of overall character and feel, it's awfully similar. So if EV is your bag and you're into that, and you've got the budget for it, it's hard to go to 0-60 under 4 with a 4-seat, effectively crossover station wagon with this much room for that kind of money. That's impressive. Try that with Mercedes, it'll be nearly $100,000. So, all that said, thank you to Kia for sending this out. We're excited we get to have it on the show. And if you have any questions or comments, throw them down below. And again, we take a ton of time to make these things. All I can ask you guys in return is maybe hit a like and subscribe. That helps us a ton. Thanks a lot. See you next time.